facts of the last 50 years. Let's start off with June 19th, 1973. Wonder how many babies were born in 1973. Wow, according to the United Nations Population Division, you, my friend, are just one of 121,831,979 estimated births throughout the world during 1973. And so, here we are. Happy birthday, Gina. This video's for you. Oh, the big 5-0. Man, growing up in a neighborhood, making friends and enemies, no doubt. But learning how to ride my bicycle, climb trees, catch fireflies, drink from the garden hose, and battling those rival kids in a good old pine cone fight. But most of all, getting on my big wheel and terrorizing the neighborhood. Now that was a kid growing up in the 70s. Man, we couldn't wait till Saturday morning cartoons. We'd turn on the TV. Yeah, we didn't have remote control. We only had 2 rabbit ears. And we watched things like Hanna-Barbera, Hong Kong Phooey, Schoolhouse Rock. And on holidays, we'd watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. We played with things like Light Bright, Weeble Wobbles, and Connect 4. We went to the movies. We'd see movies like King Kong, Jaws, and Star Wars. And at late night TV, we watched things like Kojak, Happy Days, and Star Trek. Oh yeah, entering a new decade, the 1980s. We were still kids in the neighborhood, still riding our bikes and hanging out with our friends. But we were a little older now. We were a little more braver. There was nothing like racing our bikes as fast as we could at a high rate of speed to the stop sign at the end of the road, or building a heavy structure with dead trees and limbs that we call a fort or a clubhouse. We'd hang from a tree high above the earth, not a care in the world. We'd take sticks and poke dead animals, go back and tell our friends. We'd take old milk crates and plywood and build ramps for our bikes to jump. And on it right there, we'd add more crates, build the ramp bigger, and jump even higher. But there are injuries with being daredevils as we were. But no worries, Mama will put some mercurochrome monkey blood and patch it up with a Band-Aid and send us back on our way. Oh, look, Ma, no hands. Being a younger kid in the early 80s, we still had our TV shows, Sigmund the Sea Monster, Flipper, reruns of The Munsters. We still had good TV. Even Saturday mornings are still the same, but Land of the Lost. In 1983, a miniseries called Chiefs was filmed here in Chester, and watching them, how they changed the city and how they had locals filming the movie with the big stars, it was kind of interesting. Summer wasn't complete without riding in the back of the station wagon all the way up to Charlotte, North Carolina to go to Carowinds and spending the day at the fun park, meeting Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble in Hanna-Barbera land. And spending the summer out in the yard with our friends having a sprinkler party was the best. Oh, our games. Simon Says, Atari, Speak and Spell. Technology had advanced, but we still loved our board games like Candyland and Mousetrap. With the arrival of MTV and the new videos, the iconic music just sucked us in. Along with its videos, we had the best teen movies ever made that are still being played today. As we advanced through our youth, we moved from Punky Brewster Silver Spoons to the Goonies, to the Breakfast Club, to Pretty in Pink, changing our style, changing the way we look and the way we talk. We go from leg warmers to jean jackets and striped cheap jeans and members-only jackets. And just a word for the wise, if you still have a members-only jacket, you're probably the last member. As we got older through our teenage years, we made new friends. Friends moved away. Riding bikes and building forts in the woods became a thing of the past. Walking the streets in the neighborhood at night and hanging out at the malls and going to the movies on Friday nights. Now that was the deal. Being dropped off at the movies in the 80s was the bomb. We got to watch movies like Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Lost Boys, just to name a few. All just to see how our friends would react to the scary movies, or how the other kids that we went to school with would act, so we'd have something to talk about when we went to school on Monday. So in the late 80s, we got our driver's permit and getting a hand-me-down car. That car meant we had wheels, and wheels meant we had freedom. Wheels meant we can go anywhere we want as long as we're home by 10 p.m. We still enjoyed going to the movies, but the VCR came out. When it came out, we had video stores. We'd hang out at the mall with our friends in the parking lot, or go cruising at Lancaster Strip, playing our loudest music. And then we'd get home before 10, stop, pick up a pizza, and watch the movie we rented. Oh, I almost forgot. Be kind, rewind. It'll save you $1 or $2.
In the summers, we'd take trips to places like Maggie Valley, Ghost Town in the Sky. In Charleston, we got to go to places like Magnolia Plantation and Boone Hall. We stayed in the Round Holiday Inn and got to explore Dorchester Plantation. Spend the day in the swamp, and of course, days walking down through downtown Charleston. And then Myrtle Beach, the Pavilion, riding the rides, shopping, the Gay Dolphin, and seeing concerts at the Magic Attic. And always remember and never forget, don't get in bands with guys that you don't know. And nothing was more fun than spending the time with our grandparents. These are the ones that helped raise us. They took us to church and taught us about life. We're so thankful to have had them in our lives. Nothing was more exciting than going to the concerts, standing in line for tickets at the record seller to see bands like Def Leppard, Bon Jovi, Kiss, Conway Twitty, and Loretta Lynn, just to name a few. The stories. We had to spend part of our days during the summer to see who Victor was going to marry, or how many times Nikki would miraculously come back to life from Young and the Restless, to As the World Turns, to see if Lily and Holden were still together or not, or what's Lucinda up to, and then The Guiding Light. Reba and Joshua, we all wanted a love like theirs. The 80s were fun, but there were also dangers, like Hurricane Hugo, and setting Daddy's apartment on fire with Jiffy Pop popcorn. And neither one of us will ever forget the light in the closet. All these experiences made us tough, and we had to do a lot more on our own because our parents had to work. But it made us better people. We knew we better not whine about anything because we'd just be told, cry me a handful. In 1994, Gina's whole world changed forever. She fell in love with a red-headed boy from Westchester. She had no idea how much Dwayne Grant would flip her world upside down. She went from party girl to hunting, fishing, and mud riding. Who would have thought? Not long after, they bought a house and tied the knot. Remember the old rhyme? First comes love, then comes marriage. Then in 97 came Caitlin in a baby carriage. But their family was complete in 2001 when Daniel came along.
And it's spreading like a wildfire in my heart.
Gina and Dwayne and the kids moved to Lockhart when Caitlin was in the second grade. While there in Lockhart, they found a new family in their church. They learned to walk with Jesus, and they learned who they are as children of God. The kids grew way too fast. High school graduation to college. One in PC and the other in Clemson. Since then, Caitlin has moved on to Charleston to finish her degree and making her life there. Daniel, he'll graduate Clemson in December of this year. Our family as a whole has changed over the years. So many have moved on to heaven, but the bonds of our family are still strong. Gina is stronger than we ever imagined. She fought cancer with dignity and grace, with Christ and her family by our side. Through Gina, we can see Christ work, his miracle. Through him, we can accomplish anything. Cancer free. You go, girl.
I've got a sweet salvation and it's beautiful. I've got a heart overflowing 'cause I've been restored.
Let's review, shall we? So far, you lived through 5 decades. The 70s, with their bell-bottoms, plaid pants, butterfly collars, platform shoes, and 8-track tapes. The 80s, parachute pants, big hair, neon shoestrings, Swatch watches, Aquanet hairspray, Sky City, pleather cougar shoes, and cassette tapes. The 90s, boy bands, rat tail haircuts with mullets, CD disc players, and dial-up internet. Y2K, the big one that never did anything. But we got no winners and no losers, and everybody got a trophy. We did have 9/11 hit, which is a tragic thing, and America went to war on terrorism. 2010s, we got Obama as president, Kardashians, Justin Bieber, Apple iPad was introduced, and we got Instagram. 2020. COVID-19, monkeypox, the end to the war in Afghanistan, riots, protesting, basically the most disruptive decade in history. We've lived through 10 presidents, wars, natural disasters, terrorist attacks. The world is ever changing. We've had heartache and pain throughout the years, but we've also experienced so much happiness and joy. Now, Gina, you're facing toward the sun and looking forward to a retirement and hopefully someday grandkids. Man, what a wonderful life. Happy birthday, Gina.
Happy birthday, Gina.
Godspeed.